What is good, everyone? This is your host, Deanna Radulescu with Label Free Podcast. To live your best life, you must live label free. As always, bring you incredible guests from all over the world, so sit back, relax, and tune in. My next guest has over 26 years of experience in executive leadership and senior management positions across diverse industries, including positions such as a Vice President of Strategic Technology Partner at McAfee Intel, Dean of Culver Girls Academy, Director of Client Services for High Tech Networks and Security, and Senior Director, LifeWave Foundational Cell Activation Technology. She also has 20 years of military experience, and now she is an independent distributor of LifeWave X39. Please welcome Darlene Greene. Darlene, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Deanna. It's such an honor to be here.
Well, we've already had such a great conversation so far, so I kind of want to get so you guys, if you're watching, you can see this amazing sign behind her called Stem Cell Technology, which we're going to get into. But I want to hear a little bit of the backstory of what led you up to getting into being a distributor of LifeWave.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, I would not have thought myself to be in this position, but about 3 or 4 years ago, my husband began to have neurological decline. He was then diagnosed with Alzheimer's, early Alzheimer's, because he was very young. That ended up, there aren't any good options for Alzheimer's. In fact, the medicine that just came out causes brain bleeds in 50% of people with his APOE4 type. So that's not an option. They basically said it all better Alzheimer's. Come back in a year, we'll see how far he's declined. Nothing, right? So we went looking for alternatives, and we went out of country 4 times in a year and did IV stem cells and stem cell injections. Not only for him, but for me. I have several autoimmune disorders. So I was trying to help both of us. And that was pretty expensive, $10,000 for each of us 4 times. We didn't really see any results, Deanna. And so that was frustrating. So we tried hyperbaric chamber. We tried blood. And in fact, 3 times a week for a month, we tried hyperbaric chamber. I actually think that might have made him worse. We did ozone therapy, blood spinning therapy, hydrogen water. We revamped the diet. We followed the Dr. Bredesen protocol. We took out alcohol, soda, white flour, white sugar, anything genetically modified. It has to be grass-fed, grass-finished protein. We implemented daily strength training. We worked on his deep sleep. We really tried everything. Nothing was making a difference. And he was at a point where he was napping 3.5 hours a day and then falling asleep at 7 at night. He was disengaged from conversation. It was just too challenging for him. He was asking the same questions over and over again, which is very common for people, right? But I think the thing that was hardest for me is his personality had left. He was no longer even trying to be funny. And that's the core of his personality, is him being funny. Yeah. So when that ended, that was really tough. So we began, a friend of mine who knew we'd gone out of country for stem cells said, hey, I am using a product that's transformed our family's life, and it activates your copper peptide, which activates your stem cells. So try this. And I said, sure. So in the very first week of trying this, he didn't nap at all. So the 3.5-hour nap that he'd been taking for a year went away. He did not fall asleep at 7 p.m. He was so chatty, it was like a dam had broken, and he had 2 years of talking to speak to. So he was just like, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah,
I couldn't believe it. Very engaged in conversation. He was with it. He was replying appropriately with the right, not always the right word, but with the right sentiment. He was not asking me the same questions over and over again. Thank you. But most importantly, he was back to his own personality. He was funny. He was flirty. He was Jim again. And that meant the world to me. The second week, we got the best sleep ever recorded, and we recorded every night, and it was like 1 hour and 25 minutes. We had been getting 15 minutes of deep sleep. We got 1 hour and 25 minutes of deep sleep. And then at the 2.5-month mark, he regained the ability to whistle, which he had lost. He regained the ability to drum to the beat, which he had lost. His blood pressure dropped 37 points. And then at the 5-month mark, this is amazing to me. He had lost his sense of smell 15 years ago. He regained his sense of smell, and his bald spot is just like closed up from, it's been there as 20 years. As long as his bald spot's closed up and chestnut brown hair is grown in. You can see like all these little baby sprouts are growing in like crazy. My condition dramatically improved. So I'm there right along with him. I had broken my foot, sprained my ankle. I had torn a ligament, needed surgery. I had been in pain for 5 months, sort of sitting on a chair and not really moving. I have chronic fatigue syndrome, fibromyalgia, POTS, although I don't claim those labels. I just don't. I just like you, that I just don't think medicine understands what's going on with me or didn't. And so they just try to figure it out and they put a diagnosis or a label on it. Rosacea, dry skin, and anyway, I also was depressed. I will honestly and humbly submit to you that the fact of my husband's Alzheimer's had finally caught up with me about January, February this year. When I was having to ask him for a glass of ice water and he just couldn't do it, like didn't know what I even meant and wasn't able to go get me a cup of ice water without me literally taking, okay, start with the cup. So I was depressed and sad and I wanted to cry every day. Yeah. And in the first week, I had so much more energy. I was not having headaches. It took 3 months, but my rosacea cleared. This had been a decade-long thing. My rosacea cleared. My skin got so soft. My brown spot, my aging spot went away. I was no longer stress eating, and so I just dropped 10 pounds without really trying. I had fewer body aches. But the best part, in addition to my like neat hair growth, because that had been sort of falling out, my favorite thing of all is that my depression lifted. Yeah. It just lifted. I had joy. I was able to be grateful again. I was just feeling so much happier and able to deal with the situation that I find myself in. So yeah, this was amazing for us. My sister had microscopic colitis for 6 years. It cleared up in 3 weeks. Wow. My friend's cousin who had Agent Orange leukemia was on his deathbed and was told, here, I'm going to give you this pill. It will kill you, but it will improve your quality of life till you die. Yeah. 2 days he was out of bed without his walker or his wheelchair and off pain meds. 2 weeks he was traveling, doing a bucket list trip. He is living a very good life. His white cell count has dropped. I mean, this is changing lives all over. My other relative who was suicidally depressed and really saying, just take me home. I can't do this anymore. She's lifted and joyful and said, thank you. You saved my life. I mean, it was just, there are so many amazing stories. And I get text messages all the time from people who started the patches telling me, I'm out of pain. I can move. I'm going with my kids again. I'm doing this. I'm doing that. I can't even thank you enough. And thank you for introducing me to this. So that I mentioned to you, I was the person who posted once on Facebook when one daughter graduated from the Air Force Academy and once on Facebook when one daughter graduated from the Naval Academy. And that was kind of my postings, my social media footprint. But I'm mad, Deanna, that I didn't know about this 2 and 3 years ago when I was doing all of my research. You can't find this from our normal media. I feel like our media controlled by pharmaceutical companies and the government. They've stamped out all these natural, amazing alternative approaches. Light energy healing has been around for 5,000 years. And this is what this is. This is a patch that has no drugs in it. It's non-transdermal. Nothing is going into your skin. It's the same technology that is used if you walked out in the sun, you get vitamin D. Your body makes vitamin D from light signal or melanin for a tan. Well, that's the same technology. You have light inside of you. If I looked at you with vision goggles, I would see light. Yeah. And so what this is doing is there's a little lattice structure made of amino crystals that's hermetically sealed in this patch, and it reflects your light back into you at a very specific wavelength. And that wavelength is elevating copper peptide. And that copper peptide is what is activating your stem cells. Now, a couple of months ago, I would have just told you that this patch activates and elevates your stem cells, but the FDA has recently come down and decided that your stem cells in your body are a drug. So we can't say that anymore. Even though we have double-blind placebo-controlled studies, we can't say that it activates your stem cells. What I can say is it elevates and activates GHKCU peptide, and that increases stem cells and produces growth factors. So it does a lot of things that, I don't want people to just think this is for the things you just heard me talk about, because it protects lung cells. It's an anti-inflammatory. It's an antioxidant. I'll have to tell you about the brain study and the heart study. It's an anti-cancer. In fact, it resets programmed cell death of human cancer cells, neuroblastoma, leukemia, breast cancer cells, but it doesn't affect the healthy cells. It inhibits NFKB-P65, which is believed to promote cancer. It repaired damaged DNA. It reset 84 genes to growth or cancer inhibition. Great for skin and hair, but the brain and the nerves and the heart, it actually reduces fibrinogen synthesis, which is the top predictor of cardiovascular heart disease, and it increased myostatin, which inhibits failure, heart failure. So the brain and nerve, there's a study that was done. This was in 2019. And in this study, what they've already proven, so you can actually go look in PubMed, you can put in GHKCU, and you can see tons of things around how it improves the immune system, how it improves sports activities and performance, all of the things that it does. But the brain and nerve specifically, it actually helps grow new blood vessels.
Oh, wow.
And it helps change the expression of genes it induces a strong anti-anxiety, anti-aggression, anti-pain, and it helps with cognitive function. So they did a study in 2019, SciTech study by Chevalier. And in this study, they had EEG before starting on X39, and then 3 weeks later, and then 6 weeks later. And in the very first EEG, you see a red circle that's just covered in red and cloudy darkness. That red is symbolic of, it's sort of a testament of inflammation, PTSD, anger and aggression, hypercoherence, poor functioning brain. So at 3, you start to see the colors change. You see the yellows and the greens and the blues coming in. And that is indicative of improved, reduced inflammation, improved nervous system. And so and people are reporting these results. And then in the third session, which is 6 weeks later, you have a whole different color map. And the study actually found that it increased GHKCU, but it supported cell and nerve regeneration, balanced the brain, improved coherence, improved the nervous system, lowered anxiety, decreased brain inflammation, improved memory, focus, cognitive brain function. And in fact, it improved the task processing ease and speed. The more complex the task, the better the improvement. And that is something I saw happen to my husband. I watched it. I experienced it myself. We have so many people out there in the world who are depressed or are anxious or have PTSD or on ADHD medicine or other things for their brain. It never occurred to me, oh, maybe this is actually inflammation. I'm just thinking I got to do talk therapy. I got to do EMDR. I've got to do all the things you got to do to get rid of my PTSD when I had PTSD. It never occurred to me like maybe this is a physical inflammation that if I could get my brain to actually balance properly, I would feel better. Yeah.
So there are so many people and no drugs required, no antidepressants, no, nothing is a drug. It's light. Your body knows how to heal itself, but we just need to give it a little bit of help. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I do know what you mean. And so how often do you have to wear the patch?
Yeah. So you wear the patch 12 hours on and then take it off for 12 hours. Not that there's not a little bit of life into it. A lot of us actually take it. We put it on other living creatures in our house. So it's really good for, not allowed to say that, but it's true. That's what we do. It's what we do. Anything, fish bowls, dog collars, you name it.
Okay.
But you wear 12 hours on and then take it 12 hours off. The sleeve that you get comes with 30 patches. So you're putting a brand new one on every single day. And the reason you take it and only wear it 12 hours, even though there's probably like 18 hours of life in this patch, is because you don't want your body to get used to the signal and stop responding.
Sure.
So less is more in this case. 12 hours is better than 16 hours because each day you want it to kick in and go, oh, it's time to go elevate that copper peptide and activate those stem cells. And what I didn't know, which I now know, is that when you're 30, half of your stem cells are dormant.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
They're floating around in there, but they're not doing anything for you. And when you're 60 and I'm 58, they
It was fantastic.
thank you. So do you. When you're 60, you almost have none. You almost have none working for you, which is why we aren't healing as quickly, right? It's why we don't repair as well. That's why the difference between kids getting through a cut or break or anything, they're so much faster, right?
Yeah.
So, and even just one day of wearing this patch resets 4,000 of our genes to their healthier, younger state. But how long do you wear it? You wear it as long as you don't want to age. You wear it as long as you want to reverse age. They recommend at least trying it for a month for every decade you are old.
Okay.
This is not, when you're talking about rejuvenating, repairing, regenerating cells, that doesn't happen overnight. Now, I will tell you, if people are in pain, the IceWave patches, that's instant. When I put that on my broken foot, my pain went away. And I'm not a person that, like, I don't do, Percocet doesn't work, Vicodin doesn't work, morphine doesn't work. None of these work for me. IceWave works. It works immediately. And it's the best thing because there's no drugs. So people who are, addicts or just have trouble with medicine, or medicines have all sorts of complications. This is a natural way of helping your body with pain, and it's good for you. It's sort of like throwing an ice pack on. It actually reduces your body temperature. So yeah, I don't plan to ever come off of them, but you could at least try it for 6-7 months, and then see the difference it makes. There was a heart study that was done that showed a huge improvement in the vascular system, and our vascular system runs from head to toe, right? But in particular, in 6 weeks of wearing this one X39 patch, they found that the cardiovascular system was functioning as if it were 8 weeks younger.
Okay. Wow.
In fact, the guy that wrote this book, How to Reverse Aging, A Comprehensive Guide to Copper Peptides, Dr. John Harmon, he talks about how you can get copper peptide through injections, although a person who injected them, a doctor who said she was injecting 4 times a day, wasn't getting the same results as when she put one patch on.
Wow.
You can get creams. So there are a lot of face creams with copper peptide because of the removing fine lines and wrinkles and increasing collagen. But he had he also talks about the patches in there, but he recommended use of the patches, particularly for the heart, because he had a right branch bundle blockage.
Okay.
And that is not treatable. Cardiovascular surgeons will tell you there's no surgery we can do. There's no medicine that's going to get rid of that. And so he was wearing the patches, the X39 patch, as well as there's an anti-inflammation patch.
Okay.
Those two are recommended together because inflammation eats stem cells. So if you don't reduce the inflammation while you increase your copper peptide, which increases your stem cells, then they're not doing all the work for you. They're just getting eaten up. And inflammation is the root of so much evil.
Oh, gosh, yeah.
It's the core of disease, right? It's so problematic. So those two patches, and in 14 months, his right branch bundle blockage was gone. And 3 cardiologists were like, I don't get it. I don't understand how that's possible. So yeah, it's so safe. There are no contraindications. You can take any medicine with it, although you need to check, because within a couple of months, you may not need that thyroid medicine at such a high dose. You may not need to take your blood pressure medicine anymore, or your cholesterol medicine. All of those things kind of they are healing from the inside out. Although I'm probably not allowed to use the word healing, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But so in the 2008 Olympics, Deanna, over 300 Olympic athletes were wearing our patches.
Get out of here. Oh, wow.
No. Serena Williams, Michael Phelps, David Beckham. Ivory Soley just told us that Tom Brady is wearing these patches. And back in the 2008 Olympics, we didn't even have this X39 patch. They were probably wearing energy enhancers. And that is a tremendous patch. That was the first patch, and it was invented for Navy SEALs. As a retired Navy commander, that makes me very happy because, they, instead of doing amphetamine drugs to keep them awake several days in a row, they found a natural alternative, and they had the Department of the Navy asked David to help invent something that would be helpful for them. And that did. So yeah, there's just people with bulging discs, see them straightening up. People with lung cancer, they're told you have 4 to 6 months to live, and a whole PET scan filled with cancer. 5 months later, on the patches, they are cleared. Their PET scan is cleared. People that have no hope can have hope again. People like me, with my husband, with Alzheimer's.
How's your husband doing today? So how many months has he been on the patch?
Been almost 9 months. He's still, his personality, he's gotten better in certain areas. He's still declined in certain areas. So we've got a long to go. He is not cured by a long stretch of the imagination, but he's still his funny personality. He's still staying awake. He's still awake with me all day. He's still being funny and flirty, and I don't have my husband back. But he's lost the ability to do things too at the same time. So I'm still praying for the continued miracle and additional things to continue to happen as we go along this journey. But I am very grateful that I have him back. Yeah. And I better taking care of him. I am more patient. I am not depressed. I have the energy that I need. In fact, the very first week I was in the kitchen cooking. I'm like, I don't know why I hated cooking. I've always hated cooking. For decades I've hated cooking, but I finally realized it's because I didn't have the energy at the end of the day to cook. Like, it's energy to cook, if if you don't love. So I was like, this is the problem. So anyway, yeah, I think we're all doing better, but we'll keep working at it. We've still got a ways to go.
But I love it. I love that you found an alternative solution to help with, some of those issues.
Yeah.
I talked to somebody on the show. I don't know if I released it yet, but just we're overly medicated in the United States. That propaganda, just everything's run by those big pharma, and it's. I think that it does more harm than good. I mean, like you said, the body does know how to heal itself, and I love options like this. So where can people, what does it look like if someone's interested in trying out these patches?
Yeah. So no prescription required because there's no drug in it. It's like, going out and eating a salad or getting some sunshine. It's that healthy for you. The only people that should consider talking to their doctor about before they ever even consider this would be people that have a kidney transplant or a liver transplant, an organ of somebody else's in their own body, because it's going to boost that immune system so dramatically, and they have to be on immunosuppressant.
Yeah, I know. My late husband needed his third kidney transplant before he passed, so I know.
Yeah, you're right. So they can get this on my website. You can dive into at IamReverseAging.com. IamReverseAging. Don't forget the E after reverseaging.com, and they can dive into the studies, watch the videos on how does it work. They can see each of the over 90 clinical studies. They can read some of the patents. They can hear testimonies from people or listen to doctors talking about. You can hear the inventor talking to practitioners in very medical jargon about what's going on. So there's more information than you can even begin to take in a day. They can reach out to me. I not only am I happy to help people figure out which patches, because there are multiple patches. But I have an opportunity for your viewers to have them meet with a doctor as well. And they can consult with this doctor and ask questions in a private Zoom as well. So we can make that happen, but it's not expensive. In one sleeve, which I told you has 30 patches in it. So for a 30-day supply, $99, $99. And when you compare that to, and then the anti-inflammation patch, Eon, $49. So my recommendation is to start with the silver kit, which is 2 X39 and 2 Eon. Or if you have pain, you want to throw in LifeWave, and that would be $299. And, really, really amazing price point. And, I'll be working with people to make sure that they are doing okay. The only requirement is drink a lot of water. Drink half your body weight in ounces in water, because
you're drinking water anyways.
But you're going to start detoxing, and that detoxing is going to really need to be flushed out.
Yeah. I love it. You guys, I'm going to put that link in the show notes. So if you have any questions, go ahead and go click that link, go check it out, go read all the studies and watch the videos. I definitely am a big believer in stuff like this. So if you are struggling with something or just curious, don't hesitate to reach out to Darlene. I'm sure she'd love to answer any questions that you have. This is the part of the show, Darlene, where I like to ask for last words of wisdom or advice. What would you like to leave with us today?
I would leave you with have hope, take charge of your own health. Do not stop at listening to a doctor who just diagnoses you and wants to prescribe a medicine. If they don't know any better, they are trained in a curriculum of the whole hospital curriculum is all built by pharmaceutical companies for pharmaceutical companies. There are alternatives, whether it's nutrition, supplements, or light energy. There is hope out there, and there are alternatives that can really dramatically improve your health, keep you healthy, prevent you from getting disease, and then certainly help you come back from it. I'm not saying don't go to a doctor or a hospital if you break your arm or something, but I am saying don't restrict your thinking to this, because it's labeling, it's limiting, and it's not all that you can be.
Yeah, beautiful. I love it. Well, thank you so much, Darlene. Well, thank you for your service. I forgot to say that first when we first jumped in, and thank your daughter for her service as well. Very big military supporter over here. A lot of people in my family have sacrificed for our country. So thank you very much. And thank you for sharing this awesome resource
to our audience to help them with whatever they've got going on. So you guys go check this out. I mean, it can't hurt, and it's a great, very, very reasonable price point. So thank you so much, Darlene, for discovering this and bringing it to our attention.
Thank you for all that you do. I really appreciate and love you so much.
Oh, thank you. Love you, girl. Yes. All right, you guys, this is your host, Deanna Radulescu with Label Free Podcast. To live your best life, you must live label free. As always, don't forget to subscribe, follow, rate, review, comment, share, all those good things. And I'll be back soon with more dynamic guests.